Welcome to the Quilter on Fire podcast. Today, my guest is Tangular A. Irby. She is an author, educator, and quilter who is highly educated in business administration, educational leadership, and has a master's in the art of teaching. Her love of children's books developed during her time as a second grade teacher. She is the granddaughter of Gee's Bend quilters, Pearlie Kennedy Pettway, and Jensie Lee Irby. She grew up admiring the beauty of the quilts gifted to her by her family. Quilting became a way to honor the legacy of her maternal and paternal grandmothers, Gee's Bend quilters, who passed on long before their creations were recognized as more than just a means to keep their families warm. Tangela, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Randy. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Now, I mentioned your grandmothers in the intro, but how are you related to the women of Gee's Bend?
Well, like I said, my grandparents, that's where both of my parents were from. So it's all family. There are a lot of books that are written about the quilters. There's a book called The Quilters of Gee's Bend. And as I flip through that book, I am looking at aunties, I'm looking at uncles, I'm looking at first cousins. They're all family. And because it was such a small community, a lot of people are related. And I always joke, well, first of all, they think, everyone with the last name Pettway is related.
Right.
But we're not. The history is, Pettway is a slave. It was a name given, it was a slave owner's last name. So everyone was given that name Pettway, right? So that's something you just have to keep in mind. Yes, we may all be from the same area, but we're not all directly related. And so when you look at it, when people got of age and they wanted to take care of their families, they wanted a better life, a lot of the people left Gee's Bend, left Boykin, and moved north. So whether they went to New York, if they went to Connecticut, if they went to, I have family in Ohio, they are all over. But the reason was they wanted to have a better life. So they went to work. And a lot of times they sent things back home to their younger siblings to help them so that they would have school clothes, that they would be able to buy medicine or whatever it was that they needed. So it really is, even for people who moved away from there, I think about, I'm in Bridgeport right now. You asked me where I am.
Yeah.
I'm in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And there's a large group of people who are from Gee's Bend right here in Bridgeport, and they're also quilting. So they've carried on a lot of the tradition, but we're all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so great. And so you mentioned that you grew up and gradually you started to realize that everybody isn't surrounded by quilters their whole life. And so what compelled you to write a children's book about it?
Well, I mentioned, or that I was a second grade teacher. And so I learned early on as an educator, the power of a good book. It could be the child who you can never get to sit still, who's always doing something. And as you're reading a story, they may be doing something else, but you have their attention.
Yeah.
Right. And so I learned the power of voice as well. I could raise my voice or lower my voice, and there was power in that. And so I wanted to share my family story in a way that young people would be attracted to the story. And it's interesting, again, is that, every family has a story. So my family story is about quilts. Every family story is not about quilts.
Right.
And also as a teacher, you often hear the little ones say, I don't know what to write about. I don't know what to write about. Well, what better thing to write about than something that touches you personally?
Yeah.
Go and ask your parents or your guardian about what makes your family special.
Yeah, absolutely. Or tell the stories in a book that you've heard your whole life as spoken word. I think it's just
Exactly.
Did you like this trailer? Click on the link in the description below to listen to the full podcast.